I do a lot of research on local history using the National Library of Wales collection of digitised newspapers. Often my attention is diverted by the adverts. So in this video I take a look at some of the weird and wonderful, banal and bizarre adverts from the 1870s to 1919. The vast majority of adverts are for amazing pills and potions to cure all ills. At a time when doctors' bills were something that worried many, there was a temptation to cure yourself by buying something over the counter. This advert for Allen's Anti-Fat is from 1889 and employs that great advertiser's trick, the before and after image. This stout matron has not only lost a great deal of weight using Allen's Anti-Fat, but has also got at least 10 years younger. This product is reassuringly described as purely vegetable and perfectly harmless, to which could probably be added perfectly useless, as I'm sure its claim to reduce from £2 to £5 per week was completely unfounded, but the Advertising Standards Authority was not a thing in the 1880s. A pharmacist in Aberdare produced George's Pile and Gravel pills, which he boasted held the first place in the world as a remedy for piles and gravel and all the common disorders of the bowels, stomach, liver and kidneys, and there is no civilized nation under the sun that has not experienced their healing virtues. As these were probably also ineffective, the inhabitants of the uncivilized nations saved their money by not purchasing them and were equally well off as regards their piles and gravel, no doubt. Testimonies were a standard way to sell such pills and potions. If someone claimed the product worked, it could be persuasive. Long before Amazon reviews and 5-star ratings, there were things like this for Tudor William's patent balsam of honey. Sir, my wife desires me to say that your Tudor William's balsam of honey has proved a most valuable medicine in our large family, 8 children. As soon as a cough or cold makes its appearance, a dose of Tudor's balsam is at once administered, and this treatment is followed up until the cold disappears. Which, of course, is what colds do, with or without Tudor's balsam. This wholesome preparation was an essence of the purest and most efficacious herbs, gathered on the Welsh hills and valleys in the proper season when their virtues are in full perfection and combined with pure Welsh honey. Less wholesome was a very sensationalised advert which appeared for the same product. "Oh, dear doctor, must my darling die? There is very little hope, but try Tudor William's balsam of honey." To be fair to Tudor Williams, he is not actually claiming his balsam will bring a child back from the brink of death, but this advert is certainly trying to hint at it, something which is both disingenuous and in the worst possible taste at a time when child mortality was very high. Another example of an advert which leverages personal testimonies is this huge advert for Mrs. Clara E. Slater, the largest belt maker in England, who was to make a special visit to Carmarthen Assembly Rooms on Saturday, October the 8th, 1910. Mrs. Slater claimed her belts were better than surgery for all internal disease of women. Surgery has always carried risks, but avoiding surgery by wearing one of Mrs. Slater's belts was surely not without its own hazards. Despite this, she trots out a host of testimonies, and cleverly they are chosen from local people. If someone from your own village says it works, then it must do, mustn't it? They all attest that they no longer need the internal instruments prescribed by their doctors for female internal weakness, and now they wear Mrs. Slater's appliance. Not only that, but a stout lady lost 5 stone. This formerly corpulent lady is anonymous. Local testimony is absent for the weight loss properties of the belt. Another advert keen to give the testimonies of Welsh customers is the one for Kernick's vegetable worm lozenges, including the delightful information that W. Harris, a miner's child of Cefn Coed, got rid of 140 worms in a week whilst taking a box of worm lozenges. I wonder who counted them. Ach a fi. If you wanted to be free of pain in 5 minutes, you could use Silver's oil. Made in Croydon but available in Milford Haven and Haverfordwest. Personally, I rather like the sound of Coleman's Crown Imperial Invalid champagne. It must work. It has over 2,000 testimonies from medical men, one of whom administered it to a child in extreme collapse from an attack of influenza and pleurisy. Don't treat your children with champagne, invalid or standard. It was made by the same Colemans who still make mustard today, but it is no longer in their product range, which goes to show it was actually invalid, not invalid champagne. Hayman's Balsam, another great Welsh preparation. What is all this with Welsh people and balsam? Was made in Neath, and it was advertised extensively with a stereotypical Welsh lady, of course wearing a Welsh hat, which, as we all know, all women in Wales wore in 1919 when this advert came out. Of course, they did not. Another medication aimed at the anxious mother and playing on the high infant death rate was that for Mortimer's croup and cough mixture. "Save your children from death. Many thousands die annually," are the cheerful phrases the company came up with to push its dubious product. It also boasts a testimonial from none other than the Right Reverend the Lord Bishop of Swansea. Would a bishop be wrong about the efficacy of such a preparation? Heaven forbid. Most alarming of all are the many adverts which appear throughout the 1880s up to the early 20th century for products aimed at women suffering from what are coyly referred to as irregularities and suppressions. Barnes female pills are invaluable as a few doses of them carry off all humours and bring about all that is required. Dr. Mackay's marvellous female remedy never fails in bringing out all that is desired speedily and safely. Blanchard pills, available at the local branch of Boots the chemist, never fail to alleviate all suffering, and they supersede pennyroyal pill, koshua, bitter apple, etc. Towels, pennyroyal and steel pills for females quickly correct all irregularities and relieve the distressing symptoms so prevalent with the sex. There were equivalents in the Welsh language newspapers popular with Baptists and Methodists. If you haven't yet worked out what they were for, let me point out that pennyroyal is an abortifacient. The pills were aimed at women in the family way who were unmarried, didn't want more children, or simply couldn't afford another mouth to feed. One company who produced these pills went a step further towards profiting from the misery of such unfortunate women and tried to blackmail 3,000 of its customers. Embarrassed men were also targeted with vaguely worded advertisements promising renewed vital energy, such as this alarming-looking product from the Electric Belt Agency. Another electric belt advises the reader, "Don't waste your money on quack medicines." Quite, and don't waste them on quack appliances either. Away from the dubious but profitable trade in patent medicines now, and a look at the way less sensational products were advertised. Z.D. Jones of the exotically named Colombo stores in Carmarthen was a regular advertiser in the Carmarthen Weekly Reporter. "It is rude to point, yes, but not to point out how you can best serve your own interests," which of course is done by going to Colombo stores, where the hams are real beauties. Tea. Here we are. A tin given with every pound of my 1 6 loose tea for 1 week only. An offer surely few could resist. For the many farmers, there were enticing pictures of the latest machines, like the Champion plough, the most suitable for Wales, and the celebrated American pump, new novelty in Wales. And for the ladies, as always, the latest fashions, at prices you will scarcely believe with your own eyes. I've been in clothes shops like that. Or, if you really wanted to treat your wife to something extra special and expensive, why not try the Anchor washing machine to ensure her ease and comfort? For the zealous or newly converted chapel-goer, after the recent great revival, Campbell's melodeons are the perfect thing for the solemn psalm, the soul-stirring hymn, and the cheerful song. No knowledge of music required. And yes, it really does say, no home should be without one. And here we have another typical Welsh lady in national dress, knitting stockings with yarn from Parry and Rock of Swansea. Their products are guaranteed Welsh. Support your home industries, or buy local as we say now. Bedad, what price influenza? 100 to 1, I don't get it. I'm wearing Tyler's Pure Wool sanitary clothing. Available from Maislin Mills in Llandyssil. And terribly itchy, I would think. Cycling became an absolute craze in the 1890s, and you could buy a leader bicycle like this from Carmarthen Cycle Works on King Street in 1895. In 1901, it had become the Cycle and Motor Works, and this amazing four-wheel contraption, half motorbike, half pony trap, was available to purchase. For less visually exciting products, the copywriters chose to highlight the goods by use of bizarre repetition. Apparently, if a thing is worth saying once, it's worth saying 3 times. Or you could address your customers, like J.B. Harris Tea Merchants of Carmarthen, in verse. All classes here I now address, one trial give and you'll confess, what multitudes before have told, that Harris's tea is the best that's sold. Not only teas does he supply, his groceries and provisions try. His goods will always stand the test and bear the name of being the best. Or if that's too much trouble, why not just use an exclamation mark? Or 2. Or 3. This one has a double reading. If you read the capital letters, it sounds like something from a legal case. If read in total, it's just a boot shop ad. Notice! 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 The Carmarthen Weekly Reporter is advertising in its own newspaper. They have 80,000 envelopes, surely enough for the most enthusiastic correspondent. And finally, the old adage, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. £100 to be given away, free cash prize competition, no entrance fee whatsoever. Rearrange the following 22 letters to represent the names of 4 well-known wild animals. Spoiler, lion, tiger, elephant, zebra. You may have got there before I did, but even if you couldn't quite manage it, it says, do as many as you can, as there are 4 prizes to compete for. So what's the catch? Well, the person behind this was one Harlequin Smith, a competition dodger. And 214 Hornsey Road, the address to which entries were to be sent, was later investigated and found to be an empty house. This was either a cruel practical joke or a Victorian scam of some sort. I hope you enjoyed my tour of the old newspaper advertisements. Please remember to click the like button and feel free to share the video with anyone you think would find it interesting. Why not check out some of my other videos and subscribe to my channel? And as always, thank you for watching.